Welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara O'Brien. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, David Mitchell and Russell Howard, Frankie Ball, Hugh Dennis and Fiona Allen. Our first round is called Headliners. Here's a picture of everyday goings-on in the NHS. But what does TFHC stand for?
Is it tired fatty has cardiac?
That's harsh, to be honest.
Yes, it was.
Is it from the Daily Mail? Is it terrible foreign hypochondriac chancer?
Is it this fellow who's croaked?
Which newspaper was that from?
The Daily Express of 1951.
Is it television fans hate Casualty?
Is it transplanted face hides Cameron?
Is it Trenchfoot hits Carshalton?
Is it...
I've heard Trenchfoot has hit Carshalton.
Is it that it's a particularly wet concussion, or just people are just taking
They're
it
just
on?
slovenly. They have a bath too close to when they have to be at work.
That fool has chlamydia.
I'll give you the T stands for Tories.
Tories fight hospital cuts.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Well done, Alan. The answer I was looking for was Tories fight hospital cuts, refers to David Cameron's promise to battle Gordon Brown on the problems in the NHS as he tries to regain the initiative amid rumours of an autumn election. OK, in what way did he threaten Brown with the NHS?
Threatened him with a bare-knuckle fight.
It's exactly the phrase he used.
Such
It seems a really insensitive phrase to use, isn't it?
But it's such a schoolboy thing, isn't it? Yeah, he'll need more hospitals when I'm finished with him. Yeah, and you just know Brown's going to turn up just with like a big lamp. You go, yeah? Do you want it, you bitch? They were lying, Gordon, they were lying.
You think Brown turns up for a fight with a lamp?
I don't know why I said lamp. Yeah.
I would have accepted a baseball bat,
I meant to say lamp
bicycle
post.
chain.
It's not called a bare-knuckle and lamp fight.
Or maybe it's kind of like the Untouchables. He hits you with a knuckle, you get him with a lamp.
If he had a WWF name, it would be something imaginative like Gordon Brown.
And his pre-match psych-out speech would be, I will probably win. But why, in this face of... how did Cameron launch his health initiative?
He launched it very badly.
He did.
He made it a hand glider and threw it off the top of the House of Commons.
He came back from holiday and he said, we're going to save the health service and all these hospitals are closing. And then about 6 hours later, the hospitals phoned up and said, actually, we're not closing. You've got that completely wrong, you dork.
Yeah, he did. And his own MP in Norfolk had to go, well, we want to apologise to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Kings Lynn. It was never closing, sorry about that. And it is kind of I'm so desperately Prime Minister, I'm going to start closing hospitals now.
It's so ridiculous. He's come back and he's launched this thing called the Public Services Policy Review to gain the initiative back from Labour. Like anybody is remotely interested in a document called the Public Services Policy Review. If they wanted someone to buy that or look at it, they'd have had to call it Harry Potter and the Public Services Policy Review. And at the end, one of the Weasleys would die on a trolley, having been left there for 36 hours. That's how that...
There's a thing, isn't there? They want to make doctors now work more evenings and weekends.
Yeah, GPs, yeah.
But surely the only point of going to the doctor is that you get to take time off work. That's the point of it, man. If you're lucky enough to get genital herpes or irritable bowel syndrome, that can be an extra fortnight off a year.
What a fantastic advert. Are you feeling squiffy? Do it on a Monday.
What other policies have the Tories hinted at?
More tax cuts for businesses.
That's
the first thing they've come out with is basically more money for bastards. That's the Tory policy. The next policy will be you don't have to pay the congestion charge if you're on horseback and hunting a tramp.
You say that, but he has now got a policy, hasn't he? He'd break down Britain, and the way he's going to sort this out, David Cameron, is he said he's going to give 20 quid a week to married couples so as to keep them to stay together. Because that's going to make all the difference, isn't it? You know? I hate you! I don't know why we got married! I'm leaving! There's a tenner in it for you. I'm here for keeps.
actual government policy they're talking about is having cohabiting legislation. So if you've stayed with someone for 2 years, they have married rights and they can get half your stuff, which is playing into my hands because my stuff is shit. I will happily trade it for 2 years of sex.
How has Blue Peter managed to upset the Tories this week?
Have they changed their name to Red Peter?
They have not. No, they have not. No.
Is Connie Huck?
It is Connie Hook, yes.
Does she hate him? I don't know.
No, she doesn't hate him. No.
Yeah, I tell you who doesn't hate Connie Huck, hey, Dara?
She's a good girl.
Hang on.
Don't mess with the hook.
What does that mean? Do you fancy her?
He dresses up as her, I've seen him do it. He dresses up as her, I've seen him.
He winks at you.
Kids TV kind of thing, and I quite like... she's getting dissed
Right,
at
so
the
you
moment.
do then.
Yeah.
I'm just saying she's
He
good,
loves her,
right?
he loves her.
And, no,
Look at him squirm.
Have you ever met her, Dara?
I've never met her. No.
Is
you like
your-
to meet
Clearly
her, Dara?
not
Would you
going
like
to
to
happen
sidle
now.
up to her and say, here's something I made earlier?
Dara, does your wife watch this?
Yeah, but she doesn't watch Blue Peter, so I'm all right.
Sticky back plastic.
That actually was just a Blue Peter term. It had no actual gag there. So yeah, sure it did. You might as well just have said check the dog at that stage. And you know why Blue Peter got grief off the Tories?
Because she did this press conference that was supposedly about how cycling is good, but Ken Livingstone went on about how the Tories are shit, and then it's felt that she was in some way associated with this being a party political press conference when she thought it had been an environmental stroke cycle around press conference, and the BBC apologised in the most sort of pathetic terms to the Tories for having done this, and apparently they have now imposed upon her a new contract where she can't say what she likes anymore. So now Blue Peter presenters no longer have the same human rights as the rest of us.
Ironically, this week on Blue Peter, they're making a voodoo doll of David Cameron.
See, she's got the perfect opportunity, hasn't she? That bit where they're making a present and they go, send your parents out of the room. She can pretty much say what she likes to children, eh? Send your parents out of the room, we're making an advent calendar. Rebel by killing people and blowing shit up.
That's why you don't work in kids' TV, Frank.
Essentially, she publicly expressed an opinion about cycling, which, as far as I'm concerned, she's allowed to do. At the same time, in the same room, the Mayor of London said the Tories were a bunch of bastards, which also he's allowed to do. What's the problem?
The problem was that the Tory councillor believed that was in some way showed that the BBC and Blue Peter were endorsing Ken Livingstone's push for a Lord Mayor of London next year. Do you know the way that Blue Peter viewers, who are aged 8 and 14, are big voters?
Some of them are 8, some of them are 14, some of them around about 35.
35. Don't mess with the hook. Which world leaders' holiday photographs have been in the news?
This is Putin, isn't it?
This is, of course, Putin.
Vladimir
These photos are great. Yeah. That's Vladimir Putin just striding randomly across the lake.
He looks like a gay porn star, doesn't he?
By the way, that's November.
But he was going on a trip, wasn't he, to thank Prince Albert of Monaco for helping them get the Winter Olympic Games.
Yeah.
And Prince Albert, seeing these photos, he'd be thinking, crikey, what have I let myself in for, won't he? What sort of favours am I going to get from Vladimir Putin? Oil yourself up, Albert. We're going for a sauna.
How gay does it sound? Basically, you've got a topless man knocking about with a bloke called Prince Albert. It's gayer than Right Said Fred dancing on a doily.
Can we go back to the previous photo?
So
Why has that horse got a spike through its head?
Because it may have disobeyed him in some
He is planning
tiny way.
to launch a nuclear strike from that horse's head.
With one of those wooden nuclear bombs that Russia has been using for so long.
Well, you know.
I think it's a bit sad that this guy, you know, he could level us at any time, and there he is. He waxes his chest. He needs a bra. He's just quite scary and
He
very...
looks
He's
cool.
frightening. He would snap me like a twig.
That's what I want to see in a leader. Someone who can crush a man's head like a beer can.
I would like to see John Prescott in a series of similar photographs.
He still gets a hard time about the whole Litvinenko thing, doesn't he? But I just think Litvinenko wasn't a very good spy if he doesn't know not to accept a glowing cup of tea from a glowing teapot from a man who appears to be wearing a spacesuit. I was going to make jokes about Russians all being gangsters, but some Russian people spoke to me, and all I'd like to say is I'm looking forward to Chelsea continuing their great start to the season and the safe return of my pregnant wife.
At the end of that round, the points go to Russell, David and Andy. Now we play a round called Harry Potter and the Wheel of News. This game involves Hugh, Andy, Frankie and Russell, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This is where we test our performers' stand-up skills. We spin our news generator. It settles on a topic, and anyone can volunteer jokes about the chosen subject. OK, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. The first subject is alternative medicine. Can I have a volunteer to talk about that? Andy.
Apparently, a lot of people trying to get into therapy at the moment. Other people knocking it, saying, you know, oh, well, you should just lose your inhibitions, talk about your problems to your friends. I thought I'd try this. I talked about my problems to my friends for a whole hour. Lost my inhibitions, also lost my friends. I now tell my problems to taxi drivers. 2 advantages in this. 1, it stops the taxi driver from telling you his problems. And 2, it's amazing how much quicker you get to your bloody destination.
Well done, Andy Parsons. OK, let's spin the wheel again. The subject is the media. Who wants to come into that? Russell.
I'll do that. I'd see, you know, the way I like getting the news is Radio 5 Live. It's fantastic, 'cause it's just news and nutters, isn't it? They'll read out, like, that was the Pope's view on abortion, and then, hello, Felicity Puddleduck here, livid and ill-informed. I'd just like to say those harlots should give birth to their children aged 2 that charged you to national service. I'm off to bake a cake. And sat there listening, and then the next night, David, are you out of your mind? Cloning? Think it through. 2 versions of me. Want to go out and commit a crime? Who gets blamed for it? Me! I'm doing it 20 Street. He's banging my wife. Where's the justice? And you sat there listening to these nutters, and then the most ridiculous story. A man in Bristol's found the face of Jesus on a crisp. And suddenly, I couldn't believe it. I opened up my frazzles. There he was.
Russell Howard. OK, the leads are Hugh and Frankie. The next topic is sport.
Do you know, I've heard a rumour that horse racing may not be completely honest. It's unbelievable, isn't it? But how do you stop the corruption? Well, one solution may be to call horses something like mafia-backed second favourite. Because if everyone did that, everyone would be confused, no one would know who to bet on, and the whole thing would be fair again. And often the first to show is blatantly bribed, followed by mafia-backed second favourite. They're just ahead of Dope to the Gills, Mysterious Limp. And just behind them, Out for a Canter, and I'll Fall at the Fifth. And as they come to the fifth, I'll Fall at the Fifth has fallen. I'll Fall at the Fifth has fallen at the fifth in a magnificent display of cheating. And they're coming into the final furlong. Mysterious Limp is slowing. Out for a Canter is clearly struggling, but coming through strongly is mafia-backed second favourite. And as they cross the line, mafia-backed second favourite has won it, which is remarkable, seeing as he has no head. That's been left in someone's bed for tomorrow morning.
Well done, Hugh. Well done, Hugh. OK, Frankie, let's see what you've been left with. And it's environment.
Didn't that used to be an advert for mints? Ryanair getting a hard time from the environmental lobby because they've launched a £7 flight to New York. Although, as always with Ryanair, it does land slightly outside New York, in Dublin. It's a pity we can't harness more natural energy, isn't it? Pity we can't harness the power of British moaning. Oh no, that moaning-powered light bulb's on the blink again. Oh no, there it is, back on. Everyone complained about the floods, didn't they? I like storms. I like thunder and lightning. What I like to do during a storm is shag my girlfriend and pretend that we're taking part in the conception of the Antichrist.
Frankie Royal, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of that round, the points go to Frankie and you. OK, this round is called, this is the answer, what is the question? On the board are 6 categories. David, which category would you like?
Education, please.
OK, your category is education. The answer is 25 in a row. What is the question?
How many green bottles are standing on Charles Kennedy's windowsill?
Is it you've just been picked up whilst hitchhiking? What's the last thing you want to hear the truck driver chuckle as he nods towards the 24 empty rucksacks in the back?
Is it how many times has Dara O'Brien cracked one off on Blue Peter?
It was unfair to draw her into a political battle. I was not going to have an obsession with the woman or something.
Can a man not form an unnatural attachment to someone they've never met on the television without it resorting to masturbation jokes? He's just made a little shrine.
Little shrine. And can I point out, stop writing Dara fancies Connie on a piece of paper. I think she's twice been unfairly dragged into political discussions that are not of her doing, and I just that's what I'm defending here.
Is it for how many years has the UK finished bottom of the Eurovision Song Contest?
Is it how many times has...
We won it in 1997, happen to know.
Did we?
Yeah.
So, that shoots you down, my friend.
Would you like to sing us that song, David?
Well, I would, but unfortunately a court order says I mustn't.
It was Katrina and the Waves, actually.
Is it how many times does Victoria Beckham throw up during lunch?
Is it how many letters are there after A?
Is it Cliff Richard has had 25 top 10 hits? How many were shit?
Is it how many researchers from GMTV won phoning competitions last year?
They're just very good on those questions. I'm going to steer you towards the correct answer. It is an education issue.
Is it to do with GCSEs?
It is to do... No, actually, no, it's through A-levels, actually.
OK. The results are getting better every year, and they have been for the past 25 years.
That's exactly right. Well done, Russell. Yes, the question I was looking for is for how many years have this country's school exam results been improving? This is the news that in 2007, the UK's school exam grades have improved for the 25th successive year, with record pass rates and more pupils getting the top marks, leading to calls from some quarters for the exams to be made more difficult.
Well, what's amazing about it, no wonder kids are so disaffected in this country. Like, they get the best results ever. And how do we respond? Do we say, well done? No, we go, well, they're getting easier. In my day, you had to write 50 essays in an hour, and a man poked you with a stick. If you got one wrong, they killed your mum. Now get out of my room. And you sat there going, just back off, Grandad, I'm cleverer than you.
You do put young people in this country in a ridiculous catch-22, where all the coverage is about how stupid young people are, but you give them one chance to shine, and then they all work really hard and get A's, and then you tell them it's further proof that they're stupid.
What this is a massive argument in favour of is a huge cut in funding for education. Rather than making the exams harder, let's just make the pupils stupider.
That's a very good point. Clearly, too much money is going into education. You're educating them too much at this stage.
People say that education's screwed, and then at this time of year it becomes clear that it's actually too good. Better than we need.
The thing is, though, everyone gets to go to university now anyway, because everything is a university. It used to be you'd turn up to do a gig in a uni and you go, didn't this used to be a polytechnic? And now you turn up and you go, wasn't this an all-night garage? Wasn't this a swimming pool last year? There's a thing in Scotland this week where they've introduced philosophy for primary school children, who are already quite philosophical, having watched all their brothers and sisters die in a series of unrelated chip pan fires.
Are girls still doing better than boys?
Now, boys apparently are closing that
Catching up.
gap. Yes, by only a tiny percentage. There will always be differences because boys want the tit and the girls want commitment. So there'll always be gaps.
I always find at school the one thing I could never work out was how to get girls' bras undone. I just couldn't work out. And then eventually I realised that these girls were wearing a different type of bra from my gran.
It would be a good idea to get kids more in tune with what goes on in life, isn't it? I can remember spending a whole day finding out that woodlice quite liked dark, damp conditions. I have never been able to use that piece of information in everyday life.
Yeah, and-
When you're there in your flat, aren't you? Your girlfriend's left you, you've lost your job, there's flood water lapping round your ankles. It's going to be little consolation to you that you know woodlice would quite like these conditions.
I swear for 5 or 6 years in a row, they explain autumn to you every year during the autumn. And as far as I know, there are very few jobs that are based on the understanding of autumn. And also, isn't it something that happens anyway? It's not something you have to make a note of, otherwise the trees aren't going to shed their leaves.
But they're just protecting you from the shock of it happening again. Oh no! The world is dying! Ah! We've told you about this, David. We've told you about this a number of times
Every
now.
year you forget.
Why are the trees naked?
Isn't the whole thing with school, though, that it's never going to be as stimulating as life is now for children? Because they've got, like, blockbuster movies and video games. You know, there's no way that school can be as stimulating as Tekken. Sir, why have you got the head of a leopard? Quiet boy, fireball.
OK, which British sportsman will be looking for a new job soon?
Is Tim Henman is going to retire, isn't he?
Apparently, yes, with bad back, yeah.
He said his decision is because of his 2 young daughters, who regularly beat him in straight sets.
Surely he's actually going to try and retire and then never quite actually make it. He'll end up playing until he's 100 years old. He'll just bottle the retirement just at the final minute.
I think, to be fair to Henman, he was once the 4th in the world. Let's not forget, once the 4th in the world and reached 6 Grand Slam finals, which is a great achievement for a totally shit player. It's difficult to cheer on someone who, in your heart of hearts, you know you could probably beat yourself.
Yeah, but any new 10 sport, I mean, any 10 sport on a regular basis will see around them, or perhaps be one of those people who sits in a chair, their fat rolling over the sides, going, "You're useless. Get off the pitch. I should be out there."
Has to be said, it would be pretty boring watching sport if you just sit there going, well, I just think they're all excellent, actually. Well done to all the effort that's gone in, and I don't actually care who wins, because I think sport wins here. The fun of it is to go, what's he doing?
I think if Tim Henman had won Wimbledon, it would have been so weird it would have actually torn a hole in our reality. Oh, Henman's won, and here to present the trophy is Winston Churchill with the head of a bee.
Put it this way, the last time a British player won, the Nazis marched into the Rhineland, so, you know.
In 1977?
No, I was talking about the men's.
Oh, OK.
I'd like to see...
1936, that's when they went into the Rhineland, isn't it?
Yeah, but actually, in 1977, the last time Britain won, they released Star Wars.
Yeah.
And what's more, 1977, the year Connie Hook was born.
Not actually.
I'd like to see every sportsman do a final year of their career drunk. Oh, missed it. Oh, who cares? I'm a millionaire anyway. David Beckham going up to take a penalty and just puking on the ball.
Very good. This will be the point at the end of that round to Frankie, Hugh and Fiona. Now we come to our final quickfire round called Scenes We'd Like to See. This is for everyone, so if you could make your way over to the performance area, please. I called ideas for scenarios we'd love to see, and the performers come in with their suggestions. OK, here we go. The first subject tonight is bad things to hear on an airplane.
In the event of the cabin decompressing, oxygen masks will drop from the ceiling, and untangling them will annoy you before you die.
Well, Well, if you look out of the port side window in just a minute or so, you'll see me. Bye.
That's the first cloud I've ever seen with a ski lift on it.
The only thing less likely than surviving crashing into the sea is the Coast Guard hearing the whistles on your life jacket.
Oh, hi. I've got a hobby farm. Would you like me to tell you all about it for the next 9 hours?
Louisa and her in-flight team will be looking after you today. And your hijacker's name is Ibrahim.
Hold on! I've just entered us in the Red Bull Challenge!
Will the fat people please move to the back of the plane?
This is a no-smoking flight, although do feel free to join me in the cockpit, where we've opened a window.
I'm sorry, due to unforeseen Islamic fundamentalism, this plane is being diverted to paradise.
Punch it, Chewie.
OK, the next topic is the worst person to be married to.
Bah!
I love you lots. Oh, let's see what Mr. Tiddles thinks of you. What do you think? Die, bitch!
Brace yourself, Agnes. It's that time of year again.
These are my late rabbit's ashes. Say hello.
When I said I was a positive person, I meant HIV.
I brought home a video to turn us on. It's Fred Dibner's Age of Steam.
You thought I was a Thai lady? Well, you are half right.
Of course we're going to go out tonight. It's Hitler's birthday.
But he's my dad. We do everything together.
You want me to put my dingaling into your fairy cave? Are you mad, woman?
But you can't use that toilet. That's my toilet.
He sleeps in the bed with us, OK? Don't make me choose between you and the wolf.
Please, please, Pavarotti, let me go on top.
OK, punching in that round for the Russell, David and Andy. And that is the end of the show. This week's winners are Frankie Boyle, Hugh Dennis and Fiona Allen. Commiserations to Andy Parsons, David Mitchell and Russell Howard. Thank you for watching. I'm Dara Green. Good night.
He's back on BBC Two, A Man with His Heart in the 70s. Steve Coogan as Saxondale next. Then our two favourite old codgers try their hand at babysitting. Poor kid. Still game at 10. And you can download Russell Howard's latest podcast now from bbc.co.uk/6music.